welcome back to my channel. I'm Teresa. Today I'm going to be doing my Tome Topple Readathon wrap-up video. The past 2 weeks have been filled with reading literal tomes, books with over 500 pages, and I've managed to get through quite a few. I'm actually filming this first part a little bit ahead of time because I'm about to go back to Vienna and I don't want to carry all these books, and also just don't want to show you just pictures because they're so beautiful in real life and stuff like that. So I'm filming this now and then continue filming the rest on Friday when the actual readathon is over, because I'm hoping to still finish at least one book and then maybe another one, because that would be just great. We shall see. Okay, you will know sooner than I will. But anyway, let's get into the video. So even though this is not something I necessarily expected of myself, I managed to stick to my TBR pretty much to a T, except for one slight alteration so far. But yeah, the first book I was going to read and did read for this readathon was The Republic of Thieves by Scott Lynch. This is book 3 in the Gentleman's Bastard sequence, and I had this on my shelf for a really long time, but I really just haven't picked it up yet because it has like, how many pages? Over 700, like 720 or something like that. And I did start this a little before the readathon, but who cares? I finished it within the readathon, so it counts. And this book is super cool. If you don't know, the first book in this series is called The Lies of Locke Lamora, and it centers around Locke Lamora and his crew of thieves, and they pull off these really cool heists, and each book is just as good as the last one or even better, and it's amazing. And what I loved about this book is that we finally get a glimpse, kind of a real glimpse into his past, because the chapters alternate between present time and between the past, basically. So in present time, Locke and his associates are involved in a game, basically. There's this one city that is controlled by mages, basically, and the mages support one or the other political party that is ruling the city. Every 5 years they have an election, and the mages get to just pick their champions, basically, to support the party that they are helping. And Locke and his people are supporting the Deep Roots party, and the other party, Black Iris, is supported by Sabitha, who is his childhood love interest, and she has not made an appearance in this series before this book, so I was just like, oh my god, this is the best setup for tension and amazingness, and like, things happening and things happen, and it made me so happy. Oh my god. And then, as I said, every second chapter is set in the past, so it is about Locke and Sabitha and all the rest of their crew when they were still together, like all of them as children. And it starts with giving more backstory, like even further back, but then most of those chapters center around when they all went to a different city for a summer to pose as actors in like this acting group, and all of the problems that they encounter with this and the stuff that they have to do, and it's just I didn't love the things that they got up to on the stage and like in this acting group, but I did love that we got to see the beginnings of Locke and Sabitha, and that we got to see just him as a young lad and just everything like that. I thought that was amazing, and I just couldn't wait for these interlude chapters. They were just like what I was living for. The present story is also pretty good, but I lived for Locke and Sabitha in this one, and it made me happy. I do think that the story maybe somewhat suffered because of that, just a little bit. I thought like a lot of Sabitha's actions in particular didn't make sense at times. Like, she would hear something about Locke, whom she had known for like basically all her life, and she would hear something negative about him and like immediately believe it all the time, and it was kind of ridiculous. Like, just why don't you even question anything? It made me a little bit annoyed, but obviously they needed some tension. Tension there was enough of in this book, so yeah. I gave this one 5 out of 5 stars, as I probably did all of the others as well. I'm so excited. I hate that the fourth book comes out in like a million years. This is the slowest moving series ever in terms of publications, and it's making me angry, but still, I love this book. 5 out of 5. Would recommend at any time. The next book I picked up for this Readathon was one that wasn't even on my TBR, but I saw it. It was on my project TBR for this year, and I thought, it's over 500 pages. I might as well get it over with and read it for this readathon. And that is The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness, book 1 in the Chaos Walking trilogy. I ended up giving this book 2.5 out of 5. I think it was just a little bit disappointing. It is obviously, very obviously targeted at the lower end of the YAH spectrum. I thought it wasn't necessarily boring. I just didn't feel like the target audience of this. And that was a little bit annoying. If you don't know this series yet, it's very popular on YouTube and in general, I think. But basically this is about a dystopian future where settlers from Earth have moved to a different planet and basically somewhat regressed as a society. And on this planet, basically everyone can hear each other's thoughts, and there are no women. And it is about Todd Hewitt, who lives in Prentisstown with only men, and everyone can hear each other's thoughts, and not just people, also animals and stuff like that. But one day, Todd wanders into the woods and he discovers a spot of silence. And that is very mysterious because silence isn't really a thing on this planet. It is interesting. I liked some of the concepts this brought up and how it kind of treated the human condition, I guess, in a way, like put humans in a certain situation and then this would happen, and you know, stuff like that. It is very realistic in that sense, I think. Again, not a bad book, just not my kind of thing really, and I'm probably not going to continue the series. Even though the ending definitely leaves me kind of wanting to know a little bit more, I just don't think that I'd actually want to read it. Maybe I'll just Google spoilers or something. And then the last book I'll be talking about in this section of the video is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This was actually the second book I was gonna pick up, but then it took a little bit longer to deliver, and whatever. Can we just appreciate this cover first, because it is the most beautiful sight I have ever beheld. It is just so gorgeous. I am like obsessed with it, and oh my god, I'm so nervous because usually with beautiful books they end up fucking it up and throwing a cover change in there at some point in the series, and it would kill me, literally, if they did that. I ended up giving this book, as expected, 5 out of 5 stars because it was a freaking masterpiece. And I also filmed a separate review video on this. I don't think it is up by the time you see this, but it will probably be up as the next video, so come back next Tuesday if you want to see my specific thoughts of Strange the Dreamer. I just adored this, and it's very rare that I do a rave book review, but that is what happened this time, so go check it out. I definitely recommend this one. And now over to you, Teresa, from the future. And now I'm gonna try to wrap up this video fairly quickly because I'm actually so tired today. I don't know why, but literally moving anything at all hurts my soul somehow, so yeah. Let's get through this. And so the last book I ended up finishing in the readathon was In the Woods by Tana French. This book has 592 pages, and it is the first book in the Dublin Murder Squad series. I think by now there's like 7 books out or something like that, and honestly I was really prepared to like this book because I heard so many positive things about it, but I was just straight up disappointed. And I'm really sad about that because, as I said, I was very excited about it. This book's main character is Detective Rob Ryan, who as a child 2 of his friends disappeared in the woods, and now, as I said, he's with the police in the Dublin Murder Squad, and a little girl's body turns up that has some links back to what happened to him in his past. He has no memory and no recollection of the actual events. He just knows that he somehow ended up in the woods with like blood in his shoes and his friend's missing, and that was back in the 80s, so they didn't have like fancy DNA techniques and stuff like that. He's still very much broken up about what happened back then, and he now has to sort of face that past again and what actually happened. And I felt like that was a really good setup, that there were so many things that I disliked about this that it kind of ruined the whole thing in a way. I did like the style of writing in this book. I was actually very surprised at that at the beginning. I like her style of writing a lot. I think she's a good author. I also like the overall, like at the end of the day when you do find out who killed this little girl and how it happened and all that and those surrounding things, I did like that, but unfortunately that is where it ends because everything else surrounding that I pretty much hated, unfortunately. This book, again, is just way too long. There is such a huge focus on this detective and his partner Cassie, and like their personal situation and their personal issues, and there's such a focus on him and his relationship to these events in the past. And the worst part is that we never find out what happened to his friends. Literally the case of his disappearing friends is like on the blurb. That's kind of what like draws you into reading this book, and then they just never clear it up, and I just felt like that was such a stupid choice to make. Like, what was the point of it then? You know, like why do you bring this back? And it's not like it's just like lightly mentioned on the side. They have whole chapters dedicated to him trying to like piece back together his memory, or like questioning other people from the past and seeing like adding new pieces to the puzzle, and him realizing that his memory is maybe a little bit distorted and not quite right. And like, you know, if you spend so much time on that and then just not clear it up, like I honestly do not see the point in starting this whole thing at all then. Like, this book does have sequels, but they're all centered around separate storylines, so we're not gonna go back to this, I think. So I was just so confused by this decision on the author's part. I was like, why would you do this? It makes no sense. Also, how they go about solving this murder, I was not impressed by. Again, as was the case with The Watcher, it bothered me that they didn't jump to the first conclusions that you would jump to. Like, this girl, she's doing ballet, and she has like these unexplained fits of vomiting and diarrhea, and nobody questions if she has an eating disorder. She doesn't, by the way, but no one even thinks about it. Like, she's in ballet, okay, and she's throwing up a lot, but like, of course it has to be something else. Just little things like that annoyed me. But then at the end of the day, when they did find out who did it, it turns out like all the evidence was like literally in front of their faces, and they just never checked until that point. And I just didn't understand that like procedural like, how does that happen? Are you not supposed to examine the crime scene? Like, they literally find the evidence on the crime scene that they examined like in the first few chapters, and I'm like, how is this a thing? I ended up giving this book 2 stars because I was just so disappointed by it. As I said, there were some good parts, but for the most part I was really just disappointed, and I didn't want to finish this about halfway through when I realized that it was just so slow moving. I've never read a book this slow paced, I think. I just wanted to know how it got resolved. But then also, the actual criminal responsible does not even get held responsible for their actions. And again, why do you, like, it's just so unsatisfying to read this book. I just want to read a crime novel or thriller where shit gets sorted out and done with. It is so annoying when you still have no answers, and especially if a book is this long. Like, I want some answers. You had plenty of time to give them to me, and you just decided not to because, I don't know. Dick move though, dick move. And so yeah, this 4th book took me the longest to read out of all of them, even though it's by far not the longest that I have read in terms of pages. It just kind of dragged on so long. I kept finding reasons to procrastinate on reading, and I watched like hours and hours of booktube videos, and I bought so many books because I just didn't want to read this book, because I did want to continue because I wanted to know how it ended, but I didn't want to actually have to read it. And that's not really an emotion I want to feel about a book. Like, I want to be excited about reading it. But with that book taking so long, I didn't have time to finish my last book, unfortunately. I did pick up Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, which was supposed to be my cheat book, and I managed to get through like half of it. I'm now on page 270, and yeah, it just wasn't meant to be. I wasn't meant to finish this. Basically, if you didn't know what this book was about, it's about a woman that has lost her job, and then she finds a new job taking care of a quadriplegic man who's stuck in a wheelchair, and he's kind of given up on life and has lost his will to live. And they just kind of realize that they could help each other feel better about themselves and stuff like that. So it is a nice book, and I do think I obviously will finish this. Just because the readathon is over doesn't mean I'll stop reading it, but I just wasn't able to finish it in time, which is sad. So yeah, if you want to hear my thoughts on this one, come back in about 2 weeks, I guess, for my April wrap-up. I'll definitely be talking about it then. That is it, you guys, for my Tome Topple readathon wrap-up. Overall, I'm very proud of myself because I did manage to finish 4.5 books, over 500 pages, so that is awesome, and most of them I really enjoyed. So I think it was a successful 2 weeks. I didn't do shit all for university, but you know, at least my reading game is on. That's something to brag about if I fail out of university. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back next Tuesday for a new book-related video. I will see you soon. Have a lovely week. Bye!